I think like most of my early memories are more just an experience and a feeling rather than something, a big event that happened in my life.
No, my mother always says, you know, because I do travel, this will, you know, I've been to like 34 countries now. That's it. Exactly, right? I feel the same way. My mother always asks me, what are you running from? And, you know, my answer, my reply is, I'm running to something.
No, he's asking you who I am to you.
You know.
Huh?
You know.
Who am I?
You already know.
Yeah, I know, but he doesn't know. Who am I?
Yes, he does.
Okay, he's assuming, so who am I if he doesn't know?
My mom.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
You sure I'm your mom?
Mom.
Okay.
My name is Cody Lascala. And on my first birthday, I fell into our family pool. My mom was getting ready to go to the water park. And the nanny had me, and I crawled out to the pool. Go ahead. My mom started freaking out? Is that what you said? Sorry. Oh, my mom ran to the pool. And it was her worst nightmare. So I moved to the hospital. Go ahead, I didn't hear you. I called 911. And they took him to the hospital, and he was there for 2 months. And the doctors took us into a room, my husband and I, and told us he'd be a vegetable and to go about our lives. And we didn't do that, did we?
So when I meet up with him, he tells me he's been on the street for 9 months. And granted, he's a big man. I mean, and you know, he's not a young man. And so we start talking, and I ask him what's his name, and he tells me they call him Detroit, because that's where he's from, Detroit. So I was like, all right, Detroit. And he tells me that a friend of his owes him $100, and that if he got the $100, he knew another guy that has a car for sale for $100. And that if he got the car, then he would get a job, and if he got a job, everything would be fine. And I, in a very knowing way, was like, it's not the car, it's not the $100, it's the booze. You get off the booze, and your life is going to change.
I live with my grandparents right now, and when I was with my mom, my dad got kicked out of the house. He was on a restraining order, and he came back, and then the police came because my mom called the cops. They took him to prison and then to Mexico because he doesn't have his papers. And my mom, she tried to like take care of us, but she was like doing stuff at night. Like, I think she was like stripping or prostituting or whatever, because I remember like all the stuff that she kept hidden. And then we got taken away from her because she was speeding one day with my sister in the car, and she was really drunk. And my sister was only 2, so we got taken away from her. And now we live with our grandparents, my sister and I. Yeah, I guess that's. My dad lives in Mexico, and my mom, she lives in Hermosa Beach, and she doesn't talk to us. Like a year ago?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you about a lie that I've told. When I was a little kid, I used to lie all the time because I had a really vivid imagination. So whenever my family would go on vacation, okay, well wait, to back up, I was also really good at accents, and my best accent was a British accent, and I could do it like you wouldn't believe, like really, really well. So whenever my family would go on vacation, I would pretend that rather than being their daughter, I was like the cousin, the British cousin who was like visiting on the family trip. And I would stick to the story for the entire vacation. So every like other little kid I would meet in the hotel, everybody else that I would meet, I would just be like, oh, you know, no, I'm here with my family, like, and I would just do the whole thing and pretend that I was British, and everybody would believe me. And one time I was in the pool with this other little girl who I'd become friends with for the week, and then there was a guy who worked at the hotel who was from England. And when I started to tell my story or my lie about how, oh, you know, I'm visiting from England, I'm traveling with my aunt and uncle, whatever, he was like, oh, what part in England are you from? And I was really little. I mean, I couldn't think of a place in England. I didn't know a specific place in England. I had no idea. And like I didn't know what to do. And I ran out of the pool and I started crying and I was so embarrassed, and I had to like admit to the girl, and it was really, I was so embarrassed. And so after that, I didn't do that anymore. But it was like a really intense thing because I had to like admit to this girl that I'd met the whole time that my story about being from England wasn't true. And then I was actually just from Connecticut, which is much more boring. But so yeah, that is a lie that I told a lot when I was little until I got caught, and then I stopped telling it.
What is my earliest memory? Well, let's see. First, I was born in a trunk in the Princess Theater in Pocatello, Idaho. And then I remember, I think I was probably really young, that in fact I know I was in the crib. My mother, crib, would put me down to go to sleep. And I never wanted to go to sleep. I think out of fear perhaps or something. But I remember laying down, I remember closing my eyes, and I remember withdrawing from a single point above the bed at 1 billion miles an hour back from it. And I would disintegrate into whatever, and I didn't exist, and that's how I would go to sleep. That's my earliest memory.